Howdy. Well, I'm going to try this without a script. Hope I don't mess up too much. Hey, so the subject I want to talk about today is the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon. So first off, I want to go by what I was told growing up, that the sun's hot and the moon is reflecting the sun's light. And the sun is very far away and the moon is closer. But, you know, as I've gone on in my life, observations I've made, something hit me one day. I was in the Peruvian Andes. And if any of you have been to Peru, you'll know that it's a tropical country, quite warm and sunny, it seems. At times rainy, but when I was there it was sunny. I went from the lowlands up into the highlands, and I will tell you, I decided something then and there that started making me think about the sun. The higher we got, the cooler it got. And by the time we were up where trees don't grow no more, it was cold. You know, there's ice, snow that doesn't melt on those mountains. And I started thinking a little bit. You know, we're going up. We're getting closer to the sun. They tell us it's because of the atmosphere, the coolness. As we get higher, I thought, well, but we're sure close to the sun. The sun should still be warm. Then it hit me. Maybe we're looking at this wrong. And let me tell you what I come up with. And I've never really heard anybody else talk about this, so I don't know if you've heard it before. But I thought about two things. One, the highest places on Earth are the coldest in the tropics. The warmest places on Earth, or well, I'd say in the U.S., is Death Valley. It has the highest temperatures. It is also the lowest. Now, if any of you have traveled a lot, you'll notice that the higher altitudes you get, the temperature drops. And I was thinking, well, what's causing this? And then, after realizing one thing, it started to make sense. The sun is positive energy. So when you set up a solar system, you have your positive and negative wires, and if you plug in or hook up to the battery, the positive and negative, your panels with the charge controller will make electricity. If you unhook the negative wire, the positive no longer does anything. And I thought, well, if you look at the Earth and the way things are, you'll realize that the Earth is a negative energy plane. The sun is positive. And as you go up in altitude, further from the Earth, the energy of the negativity of the Earth becomes less and less and less until you reach tree line and beyond, where it's no longer very, very much of it. And so the reaction of the sun's positive energy does not have much effect. So as the sun's ray, or the sun's energy, comes into our Earth's atmosphere, the closer it gets to the Earth, the more it heats up. So for example, you feel the sun hit you, you feel the warmth of the sun. It's the reaction of the negative and positive energy. Our bodies are their own energy system themselves. We'll get to that in another subject, another video. But what I want to point out is the trees and the plants, when they're grounded in the earth, they take the sun in, and through photosynthesis of the negative and positive make energy to feed them. So, in a sense, the sun is not hot. The sun is positive energy, and as the positive energy comes in contact with negative, it creates heat. So the lower you go, down to the negative energy plane, the hotter it gets. If you watch lightning, you'll see the lightning will go up, and it will spread out on the positive energy plane. Okay, that brings us to the moon. They say the moon reflects the light of the sun. Well, if that were the case, the moon would be the same as the sun. But in fact, in reality, the moon is the opposite of the sun. The energy being given from the moon is negative. And it wanes and wanes. As it wanes, the sap on the trees runs down. As it waxes, the sap runs up. So in essence, when the moon is full, it pulls the energy plane of the earth up, which in turn causes the cycles in many animals and people, and in plants and bugs. So, my understanding is the moon is negative, the same as the earth. It gives its own light. The light is white, and if the moonlight is compounded to a point through magnification, it cools. So a thermometer's temperature will drop up to 8 degrees under moonlight, where sunlight, when concentrated, will burn and produce great heat. And it actually looks black, dark, at a point. So they're two very different energies. And, I found it very interesting. We're told the sun is 93 million miles away. And so I decided to do a little bit of my own research on this. I put in a pole, 20-foot pole, and I waited till equinox, at the time when the sun would be directly overhead on the solar equinox, where the sun would be at a place where I could measure the distance from where I was, from the equator to my place. Then I measured the shadow of the pole, and with the help of a friend, I triangulated the distance or the height of the sun would be at its specific place at the equator from my location. And I got between 2,600 and 3,000 feet based on elevation, which I had a hard time deciding 100% where I was. I didn't have that. But based on sea level observations, it would have been approximately between 2,000 and 3,000 feet, depending where you are, above the earth. No, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. 2,000 and 3,000 miles. So that would tell me that the sun is not 93 million miles away. And neither is the moon. In fact, the moon and the sun are a similar size, and they both circle the earth at a very similar speed. The sun makes its rotation in 24 hours, and the moon makes its rotation in 25 hours, falling slightly behind every day. And then, as it goes through its cycles, the moon brings the level of energy up, and as it wanes, it goes down. So then, on to a little thing about the moon. You've probably heard the term lunatic. Well, I've actually never met personally a person who's a lunatic, but I've heard of some. I had a cow that was a lunatic. I raised her from a baby, and she seemed like a good cow. She had a baby calf, and I would milk her. But every time the moon would get full, she would go crazy. She would act like she was a wild animal, jumping fences, running out in the woods and hiding, just going crazy. 3 days before and over the full moon and 3 days after. And so I started to tie her up over that period because I couldn't get her into milk. And you know if you're milking a cow, it's not good to miss your milking. And it's amazing how the full moon affected her. And I've often thought about this. The moon has an effect on the female animals in their periods, and I believe women as well. I haven't looked that much into it, but horses and cows oftentimes cycle on the full moon. And as we look at the harmony of the earth between the sun and the moon, how they each work together in their order, I want to bring this out. We've been told a lot of things, but consider what I told you. Think about it. Maybe you never heard it before, but it's something to look into. And I'm not done looking into it. I plan to look more into it. But this is something that I really think there might be some truth, and there could be some controversy. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe, like. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll try to do more of them. And you guys have a good day.